Welcome. My name is Bill Gerber. I'm going to go through a few tips and tricks on Savant and utilizing the Pro App and HVAC services. I'm sure that you've come across this at some point where you are installing either one or a couple thermostats in an install and have a couple zones. And I just wanted to show you an example of how to make sure that the app is optimized best for the end user and showing the end user exactly what they need to see. For this example, I have a project here that has, as you can see, quite a few zones, and we actually only have a few thermostats. And I'll show you here, if I go to the HVAC data table, I only have 4 thermostats listed. And you can see one of them covers the entire first floor, one of them covers the third floor, one of them is the master suite, and one of them is the main floor. In this scenario, the second floor. Now, I always recommend using this location field, not to put it in a particular zone, but to describe what area that thermostat is covering. You may or may not know that. I always recommend asking the HVAC guy specifically to make sure that, for instance, the third floor covers the third floor except for the master suite. And this master suite covers the master bedroom, the master closets, the master bathroom, things of that nature. And this is going to become important because what happens is if you just enter the HVAC information here in this data table and click done and move on, that's fine. It gets it working in the system and everything. But what happens is you wind up with the app, and every room that you're in the app, whether it's an exterior zone or the garage or the master bedroom, you're going to click on the climate, and you're going to get the pop-up to say, well, which thermostat do you want to affect? Some clients may want that. They may want every thermostat accessible from every zone. I say don't program it that way. Make the client ask for it that way, because someone who's going to want it that way is going to know to ask for it. Otherwise, make sure that the climate that shows up in, let's say, the garage is the climate that affects the garage. Now, if there's no climate in the garage, no climate should show up in the garage. The way you do that is clicking this icon right here, Savant App Zone Map. And when you click that, what this does is this provides you a list of all the zones, so all the Savant zones listed in blue. So this here will match what's over here. Then, when you click on the little carrots or disclosure triangle, whatever you want to call it, I like carrot, you're going to get the list of the actual thermostat names. And consider it a matrix, and you're basically going to say, okay, well, the dining room is controlled by the main floor thermostat. And by having just one thermostat listed, when you're in the dining room zone and you click on the temperature, it's going to go right into the thermostat that affects that room. No prompt for which thermostat to use. And the deck zone, because it's outside, we don't have climate that controls it. So the climate's not even going to show up as an option. And this doesn't take an effect where you put it, the thermostat in the blueprint. I always say put them in a shared zone. So you'll see here that all of the thermostats, which are actually in the if you're edge unit, they're listed in this shared zone. So what we do is we go through and make sure that every zone only has one thermostat that affects that zone. And things like exterior zones don't have any thermostats. So here we go. Family room has the main floor. Good. The foyer is the main floor. Front door is actually outside, so we don't have anything. The gallery is a hallway on the 3rd floor. Guest bedrooms are on the 3rd floor. Kids' bathroom on the 3rd floor. So all of these are associated with the appropriate thermostats. And we can see, these dashes say, okay, there's just one thermostat. And we can go through and check master suite, master suite, all these look good. Mudroom is on the first floor. The office, patio, we have nothing on there. Now look at this, perimeter. It has a checkbox. So you see the checkbox means every single thermostat is going to be available. And what happens is this perimeter zone was added after all of this work was done. And by default, when a zone is added, it adds all the thermostats. Now this perimeter is an exterior zone, so we don't want any thermostats. We're just going to uncheck that. All these are correct, but I want to show that every time you change the name of a zone, or worse yet, a thermostat, it affects this checkbox. So you're going to want to go in and check it every time you make a change. And let me show you that. So if I click done, so I've done that, only one thing. Now if I go and I add another zone and I call it the game room, and if we go back into this data table and I go here, I'm going to have a game room, and look at that, every single thermostat's enabled. Now that room only has one thermostat that affects it, and it's on the first floor. So I'm going to uncheck all of them and just check the first floor. The other thing that happens is, let's say, oh, you know what, this isn't the main floor, this is the second floor. Now watch what happens when I go back in here. Every single zone got the second floor thermostat enabled. So it's a little bit problematic to manage, but the bigger concern is when you go and name your thermostats, think about them, name them, and name them once. That way you don't have to go in here, and now I have to go and say, okay, theater doesn't have that, swing room doesn't have that, studio doesn't have that. And I have to go through every single zone. Now the outdoor zones are easy, patio, perimeter, deck, exterior, things like that, that's easy. But I still have to go into the dining room. And actually the dining room was correct, sorry. And I have to go and I check every single zone to make sure that there's only one enabled. So make sure you name them correctly the first time. Then when you go through this, you only have to do it once. Then if you add a zone like I just did, that's pretty easy. You know, we added a zone, we go in here, HVAC, and we go to game room 1, and we just have to choose what it has. That's on the third floor, to say. So this is really going to make sure that the app is as clean as possible, doesn't have thermostats. Now this example only has 4 thermostats. If you had more zones, 10, 20 thermostats, then it gets very messy in the app. That you're in the master suite and you click on thermostat and a pop-up of 10 different thermostats show up. The client's not going to like that, and they're going to get frustrated. So make sure to reduce it so that when they're in the master suite, only the thermostat or thermostats that affect the master suite show up. And to do that, make sure in this data table they're all unchecked. So in the master suite, just the master suite thermostats are showing up. I hope that helped. If you have any questions or comments on that, please post them at the bottom of this video. Also, click subscribe, because I'm going to try to get regular updates on these videos and tips and tricks. The next one will probably be on lighting data tables and a quick and easy way to deploy large systems with lighting data tables.